In this podcast episode, Ben Shapiro discusses a range of pressing political issues, focusing primarily on the recent actions taken by the Trump administration, particularly regarding the Department of Education. Shapiro begins by addressing the current political climate, highlighting the ongoing tariff wars and significant cuts to the Department of Education, which he argues are necessary steps to rectify the perceived injustices of the previous administration. Shapiro emphasizes that the Trump administration has announced a drastic reduction in the Department of Education's workforce, cutting nearly 50% of its employees. He argues that the Department of Education has become bloated and inefficient, primarily serving as a conduit for federal student aid rather than directly funding public schools, which are predominantly financed by state and local governments. Shapiro contends that the federal government should not be subsidizing education in states where taxpayers do not benefit, particularly criticizing the notion that taxpayers in one state should fund education in another. He points out that the majority of the department's budget is allocated to federal student aid, which he believes has contributed to the skyrocketing costs of college education. Shapiro argues that this system has created an artificial demand for college degrees, leading to a situation where many individuals incur significant debt for degrees that do not necessarily lead to better job prospects. He advocates for a more privatized approach to education, suggesting that individuals should be more discerning about the value of their degrees. Shapiro transitions to discussing the broader implications of Trump's education policies, asserting that the cuts to the Department of Education are part of a larger Republican agenda that has been in the works since the 1980s. He praises Trump for taking these actions seriously, noting that the new Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, is expected to continue this trend of reducing the department's influence. Shapiro believes that the cuts will ultimately benefit students, parents, and teachers by redirecting resources more effectively. The conversation shifts to the political ramifications of these cuts, particularly in light of the upcoming elections. Shapiro warns that if the economy falters due to the tariff wars or other factors, it could jeopardize the Republican agenda and allow Democrats to regain power. He expresses concern that the Democrats are waiting for an economic downturn to capitalize on public discontent, particularly as they have been historically successful in such scenarios. Shapiro delves into the ongoing tariff wars, particularly the recent increase in tariffs on steel and aluminum imports. He discusses the European Union's retaliatory measures, which target American goods worth approximately $28 billion. Shapiro argues that while tariffs may be intended to protect American workers, they can also lead to increased prices for consumers and potential job losses in industries that rely on imported materials. He critiques the notion that tariffs can serve as a long-term solution to economic issues, suggesting that they may instead create uncertainty in the market. Shapiro emphasizes the importance of maintaining a thriving economy, arguing that the Republican Party must avoid self-sabotage through misguided economic policies. He expresses hope that the Trump administration will focus on tax cuts and deregulation rather than tariffs, which he believes could harm the economy in the long run. The podcast also touches on the issue of anti-Semitism on college campuses, with Shapiro noting that the Trump administration is taking steps to address this problem by threatening to cut federal funding to universities that fail to protect Jewish students. He argues that universities have allowed anti-Semitic sentiments to flourish and that the administration's actions are necessary to hold these institutions accountable. Shapiro highlights the importance of protecting civil rights for all students, including Jewish and Asian students, who have faced discrimination in various forms. He believes that the administration's stance on this issue is a positive development and reflects a broader commitment to ensuring that all students feel safe and supported in their educational environments. In a lighter segment, Shapiro discusses President Trump's recent photo op with Elon Musk, where they promoted Tesla's electric vehicles. Trump praised Musk for his contributions to American industry and expressed support for Tesla's growth. Shapiro notes that Musk's company has faced challenges recently, including a decline in stock prices, but he remains optimistic about Tesla's future and its potential to double vehicle output in the coming years. Shapiro humorously comments on Musk's plans to produce a self-driving car without a steering wheel, expressing skepticism about the practicality of such a vehicle. He acknowledges the innovative nature of Tesla, while also highlighting the broader implications of technological advancements in the automotive industry.